I'm Jordan Grimes, and welcome to the district.
Bienvenidos al distrito.
به حوزه تعلیمی سنت لوئیس خوش آمدید.
Karibu kwa wilaya ya shule za umma za St. Louis.
This is just one small example of both the variety of languages spoken in St. Louis public schools and our ability to translate them. Today on The District, we take a look at how students and families still learning English have resources to get enrolled in school and thrive once they are there. Hello and welcome to The District. Today we're talking about school enrollment for our English language learners, and I am joined today by Dr. Ala Gonzalez del Castillo. Thank you for joining me today, Doc.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
All right. Can you let everyone know what your title is within the district and what it is that you do for our English language learning families?
Yes, so I am the Director of English Language Learners, so ESL Bilingual Migrant Programs, and I have a privilege of leading a team that supports all English language learners and their families in our district.
Nice. And just just a general, can you give us about how many English language learners we have in the district?
Yes, we are fortunate to have more than 2,500 English language learners in St. Louis Public Schools.
For sure, man. I'm sure they speak a plethora of different languages. What are some of the languages that our English language learners speak as their first language?
So I think it's important to say that collectively our English language learners and our ELL families speak more than 50 different languages.
Wow.
Our top languages are Spanish, Arabic, Dari, Pashto, Vietnamese, French, Swahili, Somali.
Okay. So like I said, we are talking about enrollment today. And I think the first question is, we have a new family within the district. What exactly do they do to get enrolled, to enroll their student?
So for all new families, there are three things to remember. Number one, everyone should come to the ESL office for enrollment. Our ESL office is located at 1530 South Grand, and it is right across from Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital. There, we have a team of translators, interpreters to support the enrollment process so that enrollment can be done in the family's first language. If it is not one of our top languages, we will have an interpreter available over the phone. So we will speak any world's language to support enrollment. The second important thing to know is that the family needs to bring required documents. So for that, families need to bring either child's birth certificate or another document that has a child's legal name and a birthday. They also need to bring evidence of proof of residency and, of course, immunization records. And the third important thing that sometimes we do need children to come for the enrollment together with their parents because there is a special assessment that they may need to take so that we can better recommend placement and supports for them in our schools.
Okay, so what sort of resources, so let's say we have a family and they're enrolling, they're at the office and they brought those documents that you talked about. What sort of resources when they get there does your office provide so that they feel comfortable and knowledgeable about all of the information that will be coming their way?
Well, here again, I would say three important things. Number one, and probably the most valuable resource that we have, is our team of translators and interpreters, because they will guide the family through the process, and it will be done in the language that the family understands. So it makes it very easy for the family to go through the process of enrollment. The second thing, we have a couple of resources that our families can use to learn more about the education system in the U.S., to learn about our schools in St. Louis Public Schools, to learn about opportunities for parents to get involved in the life of their child's school, and so on. We also have resources for students so that we can welcome them to their new school in SLPS. So our welcome books are specifically designed to introduce our new students to their new school in SLPS.
Okay. You talked about sometimes the student having to come to the ESOL office to do testing, and you said that that's for students who are new to the country. Can you talk about students who may not be new to the country, they're just new to the district? So they've gone to school in Missouri or the U.S., and they've done maybe some testing to see what their proficiency with English is. Can you talk about that sort of student or that sort of family who's just new to the district but not to the country?
Okay, absolutely. So if English language learners have attended another school in the U.S., it will then depend on the state where they went to school. In some states that are WIDA states, it is governed by the same framework and the same standards for language development as Missouri. In that case, we can accept assessment records from that district because it's the same assessment. And that assessment will help us determine the best placement and services for the student. Occasionally, students also come from states that are not WIDA states, and in that case, they still need to take an assessment so that we know how we can support them the best.
Okay. And just for my clarification, because I'm learning through all this as well, when you say WIDA, that's W-I-D-A, can you let families know what that means?
So WIDA stands for World Class Instructional Design and Assessment. It's an acronym that stands behind that framework and the way that we in Missouri and many other states approach English language development. So that framework sets standards that we keep in mind as our teachers in the district support English language learners, their progress in English, and their journey towards proficiency.
Okay. So now that I've come to the office, and what was the address one more time?
The address is 1530 South Grand Boulevard, St. Louis, Missouri, 63104.
Okay, I've come to 1530 South Grand, and I brought all my documents, and my student has come and they've tested. What then, as a parent or a guardian, do I get from your office to let me know where I'm enrolled, or like what do I get from the office?
Absolutely. So once we complete all of these steps, we will then have all the information that we need to make a recommendation for your child's school enrollment. And that depends on when your family came to the U.S. or when your child came to the U.S. It also depends on their assessment results, so that test that they take. Based on all of this information, we can then recommend what would be the best school in our district to address the needs of your learner.
Okay. And I know that just from, it could be any student, but enrollment can sometimes take a little bit more time or a little bit less. So are there any factors that our families need to know that could affect the time in which it may take to get that assessment back, or just to get overall enrollment, the process done?
So assessment results are available within a couple of minutes, so that is done same day. But it does take a different amount of time for families to enroll. And I would say two main factors that impact the length of enrollment is how large the family is. If we are enrolling a family of 12 children who will be coming to our schools, then that enrollment session will be longer than an enrollment session for one child, because we need to do required documents for all 12, and then we have to assess all 12 children. The other criteria that I think will impact the length of the enrollment session is how long the child takes with an assessment. There is not a set time for them to take the assessment, so they need to take the time they need to answer their questions. So sometimes our newer students who may be very, very new to learning English, they take less time than somebody who has been to a school in the U.S. before, and they may take a little longer to complete the assessment.
Okay. As a parent, do I have to adhere or do I have to go with the recommendation made by your office in terms of the school that, let's say, the assessment says or your office says your student would be a good fit at this school? Do I have to go with your recommendation, or can I choose maybe the school that's down the street or a school that I've heard of from another parent or something like that?
So during enrollment, we collaborate with families to help you make the best decision for your child's enrollment. Our recommendations are based on data, really based on academic needs of your child. But of course, as a parent, you have potentially other factors to consider. And we will work with you not only to explain why we're making this recommendation so that you can have all data right there to be able to make your decision. And regardless which school you choose in St. Louis Public Schools, if your child is an English language learner who qualifies for services, they will receive supports.
For sure, for sure. I just want to go over those three important factors again that you spoke about at the beginning when we spoke about where do you come, who needs to come to the office. So where do you come to enroll? Who needs to come to that enrollment meeting or that entire process? And then what sort of resources you get to enroll. Could you go over that one more time?
Absolutely. So the first most important thing that ELL families should come to the ESO office located at 1530 South Grand Boulevard, St. Louis, Missouri, 63104. Families need to bring 3 types of documents for enrollment. That includes a child's birth certificate or any other document with their legal name and birthday, proof of residency, as well as immunization records. And they might need to bring a child with them depending on whether they are new to the country or if they are coming in from a non-WIDA state. And if there is ever a question, families are always welcome to call us and clarify if the child needs to come based on their particular scenario.
For sure. So, Dr. Gonzalez del Castillo, at the end of my questions, I always like to give my guest the opportunity to speak to or appeal to any audience or whoever may see this this video. So the floor is yours. If you'd like to speak to the people that you serve, the community, feel free.
Well, my message to our ELL families and any stakeholders in our community who may be supporting an ELL family is that we are here in St. Louis Public Schools to support and welcome all English language learners and their families. We are here to partner with our ELL parents so that their children can continue to learn English in our district, so that their children can reach academic growth in our district, and where their children will make new friends.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for that. That was beautifully
Thank you for
said.
having me.
I think that's the perfect ending. It was so beautifully said. Thank you for coming again and watching The District, and we'll see you next time.